The Progressive Era began in 1890 and lasted into the 1920s. Progressives advocated for prohibition, laws to outlaw prostitution, efforts to limit immigration, and policies to limit child labor and enhance working conditions. The Triangle Shirtwaist Fire in 1911 killed 146 women and became a rallying cry for progressives and led to better fire safety standards. Unfortunately, more than 35,000 people were killed each year due to unsafe working conditions in the newly industrialized workplaces. There were no regulatory agencies to monitor conditions, so employers routinely took advantage of employees to increase profits. Workers' compensation claims were drawn out by employers, and many employees died or went into extreme debt before receiving benefits. However, there were specific individuals who recognized the unfairness of the era and tried to reform it. Jane Addams, for example, created the Hull House in Chicago in 1899 to document and help the oppressed immigrants learn English, register to vote, and prepare for citizenship. Paul Kellogg conducted surveys of the poor in Pittsburgh to highlight the occupational, health, and residential hazards they faced. Journalists called muckrakers exposed the political machines and greedy corporations to the general public through cartoons that all languages could understand. The government did not have any social programs until Mother's Pension was developed in 1911. The program was designed to help single mothers, but only 46,000 mothers actually received pensions, and many immigrants were excluded. Theodore Roosevelt's progressive ideals did not come to fruition during his presidency from 1901 to 1908, but Democrat Woodrow Wilson adopted many social programs to help those in need. As president, he enacted child labor laws, banking regulations, and reduced tariffs to appeal to progressives and take them from the Republican Party. Even though the progressive movement is remembered as a time of social reform, not all benefited. Women, for example, were viewed as delicate people who could not perform hard tasks and were believed to have bouts of hysteria and were confined to bed rest for weeks at a time. African Americans still experienced racism and civil riots when they tried to compete with whites for jobs and received inadequate education. The Supreme Court case of Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896 said that segregation was lawful, so African Americans had less opportunities. Asian Americans were viewed as untrustworthy, so the U.S. enacted the Alien Land Laws in 1913 to stop the Japanese from buying land, and the Immigration Act of 1924 to place quotas on immigrants from specific countries. Finally, Spanish speaking persons were exploited by growers and were paid horrible wages. Growers didn't want to limit their immigration, however, because they profited, so they created braceros, or Spanish immigrants who could work in the U.S. during harvest season. Despite the dreams of progressives, little was done to change policies at the national level during this time. The Progressive Party simply did not have the means or resources to enact change.